Hello, everyone. This is Sinema77, horror and cult film lover. I'm back with another video. And this one here, I just felt really compelled to talk about this movie here. This is the 2018 film Winchester, which is loosely based on the true story of Sarah Winchester. And the movie stars Helen Mirren and Jason Clarke and Sarah Snook. And basically, I have to admit, I was not really the most impressed with this movie because, well, in the movie, okay, Jason Clarke plays a doctor, and he's sent to, check on Sarah Winchester, who's played by Helen Mirren. And so he goes to her house, the Winchester house, that, if you know anything about ghost stories or you ever like try to, look up haunted houses or haunted places, usually the Winchester Mystery House is, the most well known haunted house in the entire world. So he goes to, I'll get into the background and the history of it in just a minute, but so he goes to the house and they're constantly building and, they're in this movie, you see a lot of ghosts and it really does have kind of like almost like an insidious feel about it, even to the point so much that they even get Angus Simpson, who plays Tucker in the Insidious movies, to be in this movie. And I don't know. I mean, I have to admit, I was a little disappointed in this movie. I have to be honest. It just, they try to really go for more like an Insidious type or a Conjuring type of film. They really try to go for jump scares and things like that. And I just, I think the thing that really bugs me with this is like, you got Helen Mirren, one of the greatest actresses in the world, and you know, the story of Sarah Winchester was just so interesting of its own. You didn't need to add all these, jump scares and fake scares and things like that. Okay, so hang on in just a second, and we're gonna talk about the history of it. So, okay, and welcome back. Now, in 1839, Lockwood Pardee was born, and in 1862, I believe, she married William Wirt Winchester. Now, she come from a young, affluent family, but her parents, they pretty much arranged her marriage, and they wanted to make sure that she had married somebody who was going to provide for her and take care of her and be just as upstanding as she was, and in the right class. And so William Wirt Winchester, he was the son of the man who pretty much invented the Winchester rifle, and he was the rightful heir to it. And for many years, he was running the company. And Sarah Winchester always had a problem with the the Winchester line of rifles because they were used for killing and stuff. And she always felt that that had like bad implications on her. And in her life, she always felt that that was a curse that she had, was being an heir to this fortune. So what ended up happening, as a matter of fact, at one point they had a daughter, but the daughter, she didn't live very. I think it was only just a few months before she died, and Sarah was very upset about that. And then William Wirt, it wasn't very long after that when he passed away. And then what ended up happening was 50% of the company, and then plus she would get profits from the Winchester rifle sales from the Winchester rifles, and this was pretty much to continue for the rest of her life. But Sarah felt that there was something really, really bad about this, and so at one point she went to go see a psychic. Well, the psychic had told her that the spirits, of people who died at the hands of a Winchester rifle, were, they're not at rest, and that they're gonna be stirred, and that they need to, she needs to do something to try to escape them, or she needs to do something to try to calm them down. So what ended up happening was Sarah totally believed everything the psychic said, and she moved from New England to I think it was San Jose, California. It was either San Jose or San Francisco. I'm sorry, I know I'm not very good with the details here, but she moved, and then she found this, pretty much it was like a farmhouse, but then she started building on it, and she believed that if she built this house, which this is a little bit more of an accurate idea of what it looks like today. But she was, she basically believed if she built this house and just kept building on it, and she did, and they were building on this house for 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 a year, and she was sinking all of her money into adding more and more onto this house, and she was buying up more property, and then the house just got bigger and longer, and she honestly believed that she was being haunted by the ghosts, and like she would build, staircases that would go to nowhere. Or she would have doorways that would open up, and that would just, be like a two or three story drop. And she had like all these different hidden rooms and everything. And rumor has it was that she would let she wouldn't even she had a master bedroom, and this is a matter of fact that's what her master bedroom looked like. But apparently it was understood that she would go and sleep in other rooms of the house. That she would never, basically she never stay in the same place twice. Because she felt that she was being haunted by the spirits of people who died by Winchester rifles, and she felt that she needed to try to get away from them, and she needed to keep building on this house so that they would never find her. And she did this, and not to mention too, she had bought other properties, she had bought boats. She invested a lot of money into this, and she had her niece helping her, and just, and she continued on, and she believed that, supposedly she believed that she saw ghosts. And then even to this day, like people who go into the Winchester Mystery House, they've claimed that they've seen things, they've claimed that they've heard things, they claim that they do feel that there is some kind of spiritual energy there. And just to this day, that's what's going on. And it's one of the most fascinating thing. It's so incredible. It's a fascinating historical story about the whole Winchester mystery. And see, I think that's my biggest problem with this movie here is that you try to turn it into um, you just try to turn it into like Insidious, or you try to turn it into like The Conjuring or something like that, and that's where this movie failed. I think honestly, now after everything I just said, as far as like the history is concerned of Sarah Winchester, and her life, her marriage, everything that happened after, like you could have made this just a straight up drama. I mean, sure, you could have had maybe like a couple of scenes where, like you're seeing her mental state where she thinks she's seeing things, like she thinks she's seeing spirits, or she thinks she's hearing things or whatever. But, you could have done this as just a straight up dramatic piece, an autobiography. And this movie, I think, would have been just as compelling, if not more, by adding in the spooky ghosts and all the jump scares and things like that. I think you really just kind of um, you just really take away from what makes this story so interesting. Like I said, you could have just done her entire life story and just, that was the thing, just do it as a straight up drama. And you got Helen Mirren, one of the greatest actresses in the world. I mean, she seriously could have pulled this off. And oh, by the way, now that I think about it, there's a picture of Helen Mirren as Sarah Winchester. Now that's taken from the most infamous photo of Sarah Winchester. That's right here. So that is supposed to be the pretty much like the one and only known photograph of the real Sarah Winchester. And here they try to duplicate it with Helen Mirren there. And you could tell, I mean, it's pretty close. It is pretty close, so she does pretty good. But anyway, though, just, yeah, I just felt that like this movie, oh man, this movie could have been so much better. I just think, Jason Clarke, he does what he can. He's just kind of basically there to kind of play your kind of typical male lead. He goes in there, he's the skeptic. He doesn't really believe in ghosts or anything. He's the doctor. He believes in science, but as the movie progresses, he starts seeing things, and the ghosts come out, and he starts becoming a believer. But in the beginning, he's not into it and stuff. But then again, too, he meets Sarah Snook's character, which is Sarah Winchester's niece, and so of course he starts, getting, falling head over heels for her, and so he kind of is kind of like loosening up a little bit because he's got a thing for her, but as the movie progresses, then the ghosts become more aggressive and violent and stuff like that, and they start attacking. Then yeah, it's like he pretty much becomes a believer by the end of the movie. And this movie was set up so that they could try to keep it going on, but in a way that what they kind of tried to do, I think, was this is just my own personal opinion, but I think what they tried to do with this was they tried to take um, having Helen Mirren here as Sarah Winchester. I think the idea was that they were going to try to make another kind of Elise character. Now, Elise is the character that Lynn Shay plays in the Insidious movies, and she ended up becoming pretty much like the female lead hero of the Insidious franchise. And I think that was kind of what they were hoping was going to happen with this, because the movie is open ended that you could have a sequel to this made that could continue on, and that they could be talking about the ghosts and things like that. And she would be the one, basically, that would be her role in these movies. She would be the one who fights the ghosts and who, uh, you know, does battle with the demons and things like that. But I don't know if this movie did well enough that they were able to do that. But anyway, though, yeah, I just feel like this movie was just kind of a missed opportunity overall. I mean, that's just my opinion. Helen Mirren, she does great. I mean, she's a great actress. So, I mean, that was the thing. I mean, you knew, if anything else, you knew Helen Mirren was going to be solid. She was going to do a great job in the movie. So that was a given. You knew that was going to happen. Jason Clarke, like I said, I think he did the best with what he was given. And then, now everybody knows Jason Clarke from the Pet Cemetery remake. I haven't watched that yet, but um, yeah, I just think you really could have, if you just done it as an autobiography. I just think if you had done it as a straight up dramatic piece, and I think I'm certain Helen Mirren would have gone for that. I mean, she would have. It's like I think it would have been more interesting to see, like, what everybody thought was like the eccentricities of Sarah Winchester's character, and I think it would have been more interesting to see, like, people didn't believe, that she saw all these spirits or ghosts or anything like that, but that she continued to build this house, and that she was so, you know, steadfast in her mission to keep building on the house and keep it going, and come up with all these crazy ideas, and oh man, just like I said, I think that would have been an interesting enough movie in and of itself. I don't think you really needed all the other. You didn't need to add these Insidious type scares and things like that, and so yeah, I mean, I just overall, I have to admit, I'm kind of a little disappointed with it. But like I said, you could have done it as a straight up drama, but you could have had, a couple of scenes where you see, like, like she's in the house alone or something, or she's in a part of the house where, maybe she sees something, or maybe she hears something, and then she could go sneak off to another part of the house where she feels like they're not going to find her or something. So I think you could have done that, and it would have been just as good. But anyway, that's pretty much about it. So yeah, this is going to be a short review, but I mean, sure, go ahead and watch it, curiosity factor and stuff. Just, I think I'm just kind of a little more disappointed that we don't really get the full, the real story, as opposed to more of a, this is kind of more of a, just kind of more of a Hollywoodized horror film. But anyway, that's going to about do it. But yeah, I just think that, like I said before, I just think that the real history of Sarah Winchester, I think that would have been far more interesting, and the maybe show like scenes of her, her being married, and like old here's like an older picture of the Winchester mansion. But yeah, and it's like right now the Winchester mansion, it's pretty much, it's like a tourist attraction, and people who, they still got people who work on the house and maintain it to this day. And they said, like, you hear stories about, like, supposedly, like, carpenters have gone in there and they've heard things, they've seen things, maintenance men, plumbers, even supposedly, like, people who went on the ghost tours of the house, and they show them, like, all the the odd rooms and everything that were built there. And People said that they felt things and heard things and seen things. So yeah, I think just that alone, I think would have been more interesting. So just do it straight up. You didn't need to add all this. You didn't need to add all this malarkey just to kind of keep the movie to try to make it interesting. I think it would have been interesting enough on its own. But anyway, that's enough of my ranting. So if anyone took the time to watch this video, I thank you for doing it. I appreciate you for doing it. I honestly hope you did enjoy the video. If you did, please like and subscribe. And there's going to be more videos. I do weekly reviews. I do haul videos. Finishing up my library collection. So yeah, I got some other stuff coming. So until then, everybody take care. Have a good night. This is Sinema77, Horror and Cult Film Lover. I'll see you later. Bye bye.